have so it's Amanda Hellman, Kelsey Duff,
Eric Stewart,
Stanley Dixon.
Okay, we're going to try to give everyone a little more in-depth information than we have been able to about the credit recovery courses that you guys have agreed to work on for us. So let me just give you a brief intro, and then Eric has information he's going to share. And we'll talk about the guidelines document that you received and just go through the guidelines for creating the courses. Kelsey is our what would you call it, Blackboard developer. So she's our Blackboard guru, and she's the person who's going to be putting your content in Blackboard, and so she's going to share with you the process how that's going to happen. We'll talk a little bit about the timeline for this project, and I will make sure we have plenty of time for questions. If everyone else has to leave and I'm still sitting in this room answering questions, that's fine. I don't care. As long as, so I want to make sure everyone's comfortable before we move on. We are recording this because there were a few people who were unable to attend, and so we'll share this meeting out again. So let me just, in brief, you know that in your centers you use A+ for credit recovery. The IndyMet and some of our client schools use Plato, but most of the Excels, or all of the Excels, use A+. Well, A+ is not as robust as we would like, and it's going, for lots of reasons we don't have time to go into, it's going away July 31st. And so that's why we are creating our own credit recovery courses. And so we'll talk a lot today about what that means as opposed to creating a full, robust course that you would have in Blackboard. But, I mean, you all know credit recovery is if a student has partial credit but needs the rest of the credit to complete requirements for graduation, that's what they would be doing. So I'm going to turn it over to Eric to talk a little bit about data.
So, and Brady and Nikki guys already heard this, but Mark, I don't think you did. Just some additional items as to why we're moving away from A+. One is by getting rid of A+ and having these available and curated by our staff, we're saving around $150,000 every 2 years. The hope then, too, is that we can package these items and begin to sell it to additional I&I client schools. Instead of buying Plato or buying A+, they would then buy this material for us. So we're hopefully after a few years we'll be operating, and this will be actually generating income for I&I. The other thing, we have successfully created and recreated health. And we've had a few students that have completed it with minimal complaints. We were able to fix any issues that they had in a very short period of time, and they did it within the allotted time that we're going to talk about here in a minute. So we know that this can work based on the pilots that we've done. We'll have one more course. It's going to be ready for term 4, and that is PE. So that's about all I have.
Okay. So before we move forward, does everybody have any questions about that?
No.
Nope. Okay, good. Let's go. I sent each of you the document, guidelines for Blackboard courses. Yeah, so let's throw that up. And Sally's going to pull that up, and I'm going to go through it. And not to insult your intelligence and read to you, but so that if you have any questions about how we want these courses created or why, we can answer those. Okay, so that's ready to go. Okay, so we have been working since May or June on these courses, trying to find that kind of a common layout, a way that makes the most sense and works the best. And so this is what we've come up with, and for uniformity's sake, we want the classes to essentially be all the same. A good model is the health and wellness class. PE is a little bit different because the nature of physical education, you can't just take it online and really be able to justify that somebody has credit in physical education. You have to do a physical component, and so that's why it's a little bit different. And so we just go through, I'm just going to go through some of the bullets. So the content is to be submitted in a Google folder. Kelsey's going to create, and she'll talk a little bit about this, but she's going to create Google folders for each of the courses where you will submit your content. So later when we talk about the timeline and we say your curriculum map aligned to Indiana standards is due on a certain day, due meaning it needs to be in that folder, and then we can review it. And all content must be submitted as Microsoft Word documents. That it makes life much easier in Blackboard if things are in Word as opposed to being in a Google Doc. Let's see, those creating instructional content are responsible for supplying visual aids and artwork. You'll see in the examples in PE and in health and wellness, you'll see that I've put pictures or graphs exactly where in the content Kelsey's going to put them in Blackboard. And so you would be responsible for finding your own visual elements. Let's see. Any links to outside resources must be submitted in the content. It's just if you want them to go to a link, put it in your content where you want it to be when it goes into Blackboard. Otherwise, Kelsey's not going to have any way of knowing where to insert it. I think this next one is obvious, but I goofed out first on health and wellness and had to find a different video. So make sure your video is a reliable source so that in 2 years they're still going to be there, that they're not going to go away. Bozeman Science is a good example. They're going to be around for a long time. And so I'm confident you can insert those videos and they're not going to go away. If you have something from National Geographic, well, that's pretty reliable. If you have something from Fred's history page, maybe not so reliable. So, let's see. All the courses must be accompanied by a curriculum map indicating the alignment of the lessons to Indiana standards, and that's going to be the first thing due. And so I don't have to lecture you guys about that. You know how to do that. You've all done it before plenty. All courses should have an outlined course objective. I think that I have a typo there. I think it's you should have an outline of course objectives. You can see that, I think, what's that section under in health and wellness that explains what, there's a section that explains to students what, hey, this is what this course is about, this is what you're going to do. Yeah, there's kind of a more watered down area in the welcome where you'll tell students what they're going to experience in the class, but you also need to have course objectives. All quizzes and tests must be multiple choice or true false. No fill in the blank or other questions that have to be hand graded. All right. I know that that is not exactly going to get us a lot of points on the RISE rubric, but because we want to make these classes mobile compatible, or at the very least so students can take their quizzes on their mobile phones, because a lot of them, that's really the only internet connectivity they have outside of our centers. They have to be multiple choice or true false questions in order to work. And so it just made me sick to my stomach when I first got started to have to do all of our assessments that way, but it's the way it is. So it's not ideal, but it's going to be best for the students if they can access this material as easily as possible. Okay, so next, activities or other 0-point items can contain multiple choice, true, false matching, either or items. You can have a lot more fun. For example, in PE or in health and wellness, there are activities that students have to do but they're not necessarily part of their grade. And so you can do those and get creative with those, because if they can't do those on their phone, it's not really going to be detrimental to the student. Okay, so there must be enough content appropriate and appropriate assessment to justify awarding credit. So look at health and wellness. We have a structure we're going to talk about in a minute that will help you figure out how much is enough for credit recovery versus how much is enough for full-blown class. Because it's not something that's intuitive to all of you, because this is not the kind of class you are used to creating. Okay, well, the next thing is the standard naming convention, and that's in our instructions too. We were spelling out everything, and there's just not enough room. So W for week, D for day, and so on. Examples of standardization in different formats can be seen in health and PE. Courses should be designed such that students are able to complete the course in 4 weeks if they spend 90-minute periods per week of the course. 4 90-minute periods. So it's basically a 4-day course, a 90-minute course, and a 4-week course. And we'll go through the structure in a second here. 2 semester courses need to be split up in A and B. So we have World History A, World History B, Biology A, Biology B. And so some of you have agreed to do half of one on just the one, and some have agreed to do both. We need to get together. If you're doing, let's say, World History A, and you have a colleague doing World History B, we want to make sure that you guys are clear on who's covering what material and what kind of format structure you're going to go with. And then a pacing guide should be included, and there are pacing guides for every course and for A+ in Blackboard. And so if you want to look in resources in Blackboard and look at the A+ pacing guides to get an idea of what we need, that's a good place to go. So any questions on this before we move forward?
There is, Nikki has a question, you see.
The first 30 units done. Let's see. Well, we do this. It's unfortunate that when you were asked to do this, it was before we had this format set up. But the bad news is, so we need them all to be in this format so that they're uniform. I am happy to help you, and Eric says he can too, help you rearrange them, because I know that it kind of stinks that we didn't have these guidelines ready for you when we asked you to start working on it. And so, and then, did Brandy have a question? Somebody typed, I thought I saw it. No one else typed a question?
No, Brandy said that, yeah, there was Brandon, Miriam, Carol, are all on her. And I saw Miriam sign in herself. So.
Oh, okay. All right, great. Well, hi, everybody. So let's move. If there are no more questions on this guidelines, I want to move to the just real quick course format, and then we'll go to just course format first, and then we'll go to Kelsey's. Just because I mentioned this a couple times, it will make more sense if you pull this document up later, and then also look at health and wellness. The course is a 4-week course, and in every course there will be a folder for each day. Think of each day as having 4 lessons per day, and each of those having a quiz. The quiz is 5 questions, and students need to get 3 of those 5 right to move on. 4. I'm sorry, 4. Originally it was 3. Sorry. 4 of those 5 correct to move on. This is the way, the reason we came up with this methodology is so that they're actually doing the reading and actually, engaging with the material as much as we can get them to. For every day, so not every lesson, for every day, there's an activity. Think of it as the dreaded H word, homework, or some type of activity. So it's not necessarily a quiz, but it's some other kind of practice of the material they just covered. There are examples in health and wellness. And then for the course, you just need one comprehensive final, 30 to 50 multiple choice or true-false questions. If you look in PE, you're not going to see this format. You're going to see a lot more assessments. You're going to see some unit mastery tests. PE is kind of the stepchild because of the format it was in. We really need you to follow this format. And then once you get on this document, it goes through the naming convention again for you so that you know how to label things. Weekday, quiz, activity. So is this clear to everyone, or do you feel confident that once you look at the example in health and wellness that this can make sense to you? Yes. Yeah, Miriam, I see your question about sending you the document. Yes, I am. All of these documents are in a single folder, a Google folder that I had intended to share with everyone and got distracted doing something else. And so I'm just going to, after this meeting, I'll share the Google folder with you guys, and so you'll have all of the documents we're covering today once again. You'll have access to them. All right. So if there are no other questions on this format, we're going to turn it over to Kelsey and talk about process for a little bit.
So Dan is going to share, I created a sample drive for everyone that I'll share with you after this meeting so that you can go back and look and see how we want this to be formatted and maybe what the layout of the lesson should look like, what the quizzes should look like. Sample
CR.
It's right there.
Just a second. Yeah.
I just want to make sure I have it up right.
Okay, we're getting ready to
I'm going to share it again.
with you. And this just really helps me know exactly where your lessons are, what quizzes go with what lesson, where the activities go, answers to quizzes, all that. So you can see this sample drive. We have a welcome message folder, a curriculum map folder, pacing guide folder, and final exam. So like Amanda was talking about, you need to upload that curriculum map and pacing guide. You'll just drop them. You can double click on the folder and then just drop that straight in. And I have an example of those from Amanda. Can you go ahead and click on them?
Does it matter which one?
Curriculum map.
Curriculum, sorry.
You can see that Amanda created it in Word and then I uploaded it to the drive so that when you double click on it, you can see I can download it at the top and it will download for me as a Word document, and then it's a simple copy and paste into Blackboard and the formatting stays the same. That was one of the biggest problems we had with health at first that we just didn't know about, was copying from a Google document to Blackboard. The formatting, Blackboard just didn't like it. And it's much easier and cleaner looking from Word. So if you go back here. So like I said, you'll just upload all those straight into that folder as a Word document. And then we can go ahead and jump into, you'll see there are 4 weeks. And if you jump into week 1, you'll see week 1 has 4 days. So if you jump into day 1, you'll see day 1 has 4 lessons. So this is pretty much straightforward for all of you. If you know you have week 1, day 1, lesson 1, you go ahead and double click on lesson 1. You'll upload your lesson as a Word document straight to here. So just maybe put the title of your lesson and you've got the title of your document, and then you upload the same for the quiz. You can just put the quiz for that lesson in that same folder. I'm going to go ahead and open the lesson. You can see this is one from Health that Amanda created, and at the top you'll see she has the title, and she has her objectives, and then this is a good example of her including all of the images that she wants in line with the text. You can do whatever you want as far as formatting bullet points, numbers, whatever, paragraphs. It doesn't really matter. If you have a specific way you want me to break up the lesson, we can do that too. Just let me know. And this way it was super easy to get into Blackboard, and it looks really clean and nice. Oh yeah, go ahead and show those quiz. And then the quiz is just, it's not as important for you as it is for me for the naming convention in Blackboard. If you just put that it's the quiz, then I'll know it's in the right folder, then I'll know exactly where to upload it. And you'll see that all of the correct answers are bolded. I could do my best to read through the lesson and take it myself and try to guess, but probably best for you to go ahead and bold those answers for me. And then I think that's it. I think the only other example I wanted to show you was the final exam. Just to go back to the very beginning, you do the final exam. I just pulled this one. This was one of the unit. This was one of the unit tests from Amanda from PE. So there's only 20 questions, and like she stated, it should be 30 to 50 for your final. But you'll just see. I think actually this one was all multiple choice, but you can throw in some true and false in there as well, wherever you see fit. But you will see that the answers are all bolded. Just nice and clean, easy uploads. That's kind of the gist of that. I'll be creating the folders for all of you and then sharing them, so it'll be myself, probably Eric, Amanda, Stan, and you that have access to that folder, so that when you're ready to upload, you just go ahead and do that. And then upload them in a week's days and lessons as they're supposed to be. Any questions?
You talk about giving graphics, or is it on there?
About putting it in graphics.
We have access to the scene.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share that with you here after we're done.
Or just bringing up text. I would really encourage all of you to take a look at health. Because just remember, I mean, students are going to be taking this, going to be sitting in front of a computer screen for 60 to 90 minutes, making sure that you're breaking up text with graphics. Let's see. Did you answer that? Graphics need to be embedded? Yes, please.
The standard I used on health and wellness, and you don't have to follow this, but I put 4 graphics just because I'm anal and I like to have everything uniform. I had 4 of everything. I don't know what that says about me, but it seemed to work, and it was uniform, and so every page, every lesson they did looks the same. It's different graphics, but there's 4 pictures or graphs or whatever per lesson. So that was just a good, and then, I just felt confident that I had enough. So.
Nick asked a very good question, and I mean, the reality is yes, we should be citing, or was it, okay, I'm sorry. We should be citing. We haven't really yet. So, but yes, I wonder, so I'm at this point I'm talking out loud. Is that something, so if you want to put your resources perhaps just in one spot and not in the text itself, so whether it's the introduction, on the map?
We can put it on the map, or we can create a resources tab, like a separate page within Blackboard or somewhere, or in the resources, and just put it there. So kind of like a bibliography. So I think that's probably a good idea. So
okay. Yeah, I just don't want to see it. I don't think in the text necessarily.
No, I think it would be confusing to students, because then they may think that they need to go to that one.
So you can we used A+, we've curated our own, and we also have access to Plato's catalog as well to give ideas in terms of structure, pacing, and organization. So we can get you the Plato login as well.
Right. I tried to share my Plato login with Brandon, and I gave it to him wrong. So it didn't work for him. So we'll try again. So Brandon, if you're sitting out there thinking, no, Plano login doesn't work, we'll get you one that works. So yeah, Plano A+. If you really have textbooks that you would like for us to get for you, within reason, like for example, for one of our client schools in DC, I need to look at how them create a music appreciation course, because that's one they need. And so I looked at half.com and reviewed textbooks on half.com, and I may buy one there. If you need to, if you think you need to go that route, and just send me an email and I'll help you find stuff, and then of course, we'll pay for it. But that's why I say within reason. Don't go out and buy a $600 textbook. So let's chat before you buy anything.
I guess really we're on the topic of copyrights and all that. Is everybody comfortable searching images that we're using, making sure they're not proprietary and they can be reused and manipulated? Because that's a search feature within Google you could use. Yes, we will be sending out logins for everything.
And the one thing Eric reminded me, I kind of skipped over on the curriculum map when you're aligning it to Indiana standards. It needs to be the new standards. I assume you know that, but just in case, I want to make sure I cover it. So, and if anyone needs a link from the DOE page to where those standards are, I can send it to you. All right.
Yes. I just wanted to note, too, the reason why we're having you do this almost all the same, you may be thinking they're all different courses, I have my own style. When we upload these the same, students are going to be taking several of these probably, and when they log into Blackboard, I think it'd be really important for them to recognize the course and be able to know where they can find the lessons, how they move forward, what they can expect from each one, instead of it being just completely different each time, so that it's a quick, smooth process for the students.
Yeah, we just redid health and wellness because there were some serious problems with it. It was rookie mistakes. Blackboard's new to me. We didn't know things like you really can't do fill in the blank because for all of those reasons. So it was a mess. So I just redid it. And so I was really used visually to what health and wellness looks like. A day later, I went into PE to do some editing, and I was completely lost. And by the way, I'm the one who created both of these courses. So if I was lost and having to ask Stanley, where do I find X, Y, or Z, or how do I move to the next part? If I'm lost, think of the frustration your students will have having every course different. So that's why.
I have something for you guys. There's a public image site, kind of like a Shutterstock or something, called Morgue File. I know it sounds creepy, but it's actually meant for photos which are used for corporate use and are now open to free usage. So that's a good place for professional photography that is high quality and absolutely free.
Cool. And then like in health and wellness, I relied on a lot of federal agencies for information, and any of those images or graphics they have, because it's public record, public information, I can just poach. And so there are a lot of places on the web where you can just take their images, graphics, data, and it's okay. So if you are really stuck and worried about one, send me an email, and the four of us will try to help you do some searching and make sure that you can use it or not use it. So we can be your backup for any of those times that you guys feel stuck or anxious. We're your backup, and you can just reach out to any of us or all of us, and we will help you figure it out wherever you're stuck. Let's go ahead and talk about the timeline for this project and make sure that we're all on the same page. I think we talked about that, but you do not have it.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure.
So The timeline is we need a map with standards on January 22nd. So obviously that's 5 o'clock, January 22nd. I think that's a Friday, or maybe it might even be a weekend day. But we will review your maps, make sure they're in your folders, and then review them and kind of give you the okay within a couple days of that. On February 5th, day 1 is due. And we really want to check day 1 before you move on, because in the event that this information or these guidelines have not been clear and you've misunderstood or we haven't correctly communicated what we want, I don't want you to move forward and put a lot of effort in until I'm able to correct that error. And so we want to look at day 1. I think the 5th is also a Friday, but so a couple days after that we will look at it and give you the go-ahead. And then on 2/19, we want the whole week 1 due, and we'll check that. Beyond that, you should just be really in a groove and ready to go. And so in the file complete, your course should be complete on March 25th, so that's 3/25, in order to get the pay of $1,500. And so that extra, the pay for this is $1,000, but there's an extra speedy completion bonus of $500. So think of it that way, because the final deadline is May 1st, but you just don't get the $500 speedy completion bonus, so you only get $1,000. So to reiterate, because this is the part that's important, the final deadline is May 1st. The early bird deadline to get $1,500 is March 25th. And that's in the file incorrect and usable. So just to be clear. So does everyone have that? Does that make sense?
I think we're good.
Okay, how soon will Google folders be available?
I'll be making them early next week.
Yeah, so early next week for you to dump stuff in. So, and it will, you'll get, obviously in your email that Kelsey Best or Kay Best has shared a folder with you. And just in case anyone's concerned, the only people who will have access to any given folder is for a particular course, that is the teacher creating that course, and then the design team here around the table, Stanley, Eric, Amanda, and Kelsey. Okay? So, so you won't be peeking at each other's stuff. Any other questions? We, want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable. So, Mark, we talked a little bit via email a few days ago. Do you feel more comfortable now that we've reviewed this?
Can you hear me? I'm still so the resources that I will use, a lot of that is in Blackboard and A+ already.
It's in A+ and Plato. That
A+ and
yeah, those
okay.
are resources that you can use.
Yeah. I guess I still feel like I haven't really seen anything, so I'm kind of trying to wrap my brain around it. But
I would encourage you to look at health. Hopefully, by reviewing the health course, that will give you some ideas about like what does it look like, how is it formatted, how is it paced, things like that.
Okay.
You have a health course, Mark?
You may not.
I'll make sure and add everyone in the list to the health course so everyone can go in and review it.
No, I did not. I'm smiling at you because I was writing a note. Ooh, better give everyone access to Blackboard to see that class. So you can have access to Blackboard, and then we'll also make sure that you have access, if that's not, I think I already gave you guys access to the Google file. which is where you'll be dumping in your, it's just like the one that you'll be using. But you say I did not, so I will. Okay. So we will, the other thing is, we need by Monday, I want to give everybody, because there are a few people who are a little bit on the fence about these courses and about committing. By Monday morning, I'm going to assume we have a first commitment. So, because if we don't, these courses are really important for students to be able to move quickly to graduation. And if A+ goes away, and there is not a way for students to get the credits they need to graduate, then that's a situation we just don't want to be in. And so think about it, do a lot of resource searching, soul searching. Where I would start, if I wasn't sure, is by conceptualizing a curriculum map, remembering that that's going to be your structure for the class. And if that is not something, once you start to think about that, if you feel like this is not something you're either going to be able to do or you have any desire to do, let us know on Monday so I can find replacements. We are still looking for people to do some of the science courses, but the classes that all of you have signed up for are the most crucial. Because they're the classes that students use the most to move towards graduation. Okay.
So Amanda, is there just no one that wants to take the Earth and Space Part B?
I will probably, the Part B, if we get Part A created, what will happen is anything that we don't have a teacher to create, we'll create in-house. And so, I would
you just said you said you wanted someone to do both parts, and I just remember signing up for the first part, and I'm just reluctant time-wise because I don't want to do bad work either because I don't have enough time. So.
We'll find someone to be. It's just preferable. Janet was preferred that somebody do, when there's an A and B, that we have one person doing both parts. Right. But with the timeline, if you don't have the time, you don't have time. So.
Right. Okay.
So, any other questions? You may come up with 5 or 6 questions after we hang up or over the weekend. And so you can send them to me at A. And if I don't know the answer, I'll send it out to these guys, and we'll find an answer for you. Now, if you have suggestions for other folks who might, really be super interested in ICT or World History B and chemistry, you may, if you know them well and they're in your building, you may want to mention this to them, and they can reach out to me, or do you need me to muscle them and pressure them into doing it? I'm not above doing that. So yeah, if you guys can help me recruit, that would be fantastic. Anything else? Okay, well, have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for giving us some of your time on a Friday.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That's me.
I'm a big Totoro fan.
I wish he was my neighbor.
Good day, guys.
Thank you, you too.